I didn't slam the door or demand explanations. I didn't raise my voice or ask her to justify what I already felt in my bones. When a truth cuts that deep, silence speaks louder than anger ever could. She had deceived me, and in that second I stopped trying to understand why. I left because staying would have meant forcing my heart to accept something it simply couldn't. I thought that was the end. I was mistaken. The letter came later, folded carelessly, edges worn, left at my doorstep as though even remorse was trying not to make a sound. Seeing it there unraveled everything I believed I had already put behind me. We had spent 4 years together, 4 years shaped by routine and familiarity. Shared keys, inside jokes only we laughed at, lazy Sundays where words felt unnecessary. The fire had softened into something steady and reliable. Or at least that's what I told myself. Looking back, I can pinpoint when the shift began. It was in her gaze, how it no longer lingered on mine. In the way her sentences trailed off, cautious and incomplete, as if she was always hiding something between the lines. I noticed it. I chose to ignore it. Loving someone often means shielding them, even from your own doubts. That's why the truth hurt as much as it did. It didn't start with drama. Just a phone call I wasn't meant to overhear. Her voice was low, strained, trembling as she spoke about guilt and not being able to continue. I shouldn't have listened, but I did. That evening I asked her about it. She smiled, blamed exhaustion, said I was overthinking. And I wanted, desperately, to believe her. The next day, I crossed a boundary I never thought I would. I looked through her messages. Something I had always believed I'd never do. And there it was. Different name. A different world. A space where I didn't exist at all. Nothing physical had happened, but emotionally she was already gone. I stared at the screen, hollow and unmoving. I didn't confront her. I didn't wait for her to come home. I took my jacket, my keys, and walked out. No goodbye. No explanation. I left behind the life we built because she had already abandoned the truth. Days blurred into weeks. I found a small apartment and tried to piece myself back together. Still, she appeared in quiet moments, in pauses, in sudden memories that came without warning. The hardest part was realizing I no longer knew anything about her life. Yet I never reached out. She had lied, and that was a line I couldn't step back over. Then, one rain-heavy afternoon, I came home and saw it. A letter, no envelope, just my name written in her handwriting, placed carefully near my door. I stood there, unmoving. Every instinct told me to leave it untouched, not to let her back in, not even through words on paper. But I opened it anyway. What I read broke me in a way the betrayal never had. She wrote that I probably hated her, and she understood why. But before I erased her completely, she wanted me to know the truth. Not because she deserved forgiveness, but because I deserved honesty. She admitted she had lied that night, not out of mistrust, but out of shame. The man I saw in her messages wasn't someone she loved. He was an escape. Attention without responsibility. A version of herself that didn't feel pressured to be strong or flawless. With me, she said, she felt seen. And that terrified her. She was afraid she wasn't enough anymore. Afraid that one day I'd realize I deserved more. Instead of asking for help, she destroyed what we had. She gave me a reason to leave because she didn't know how to face her own fear. She wrote that she watched me walk away and had regretted it every single day since. She tried countless times to message me but never found the right words. She wasn't asking for another chance. She just needed me to know I was never the problem. She was. And she would carry that regret for the rest of her life. She hoped I'd find peace. Someone who stays when things fall apart. And if I ever doubted her feelings, she loved me. She still did. She just never learned how to love the right way. I sat on the floor for hours after reading it. Not because I forgave her, but because I finally understood. Betrayal isn't always born from cruelty. Sometimes it grows from fear, from insecurity, from people quietly unraveling while pretending everything is fine. The truth hurt more than the lie because it proved what we had was real. It just wasn't strong enough to survive the war she was fighting inside herself. I never replied. Not because I felt nothing, but because some letters exist to close a chapter, not reopen it. I still carry it with me. Not as an open wound, but as a reminder. Sometimes people leave not because they stop loving you, but because they forget how to love themselves. If you're holding pain caused by someone else's dishonesty, remember this. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to never look back. And if closure arrives late, through a letter, a message, or a memory, let it reach you. Not to revive what's ended, but to finally set it down. If this story connected with you, share it with someone who might be healing in silence. And please help me reach 2,000 subscribers.